going over our nationality. So what would our nationality be? What would you call yourself today? Mexican? All right. What about you? Black and Puerto Rican? White and Puerto Rican? So we're going to go off who our father is. So who's your father? Who's your father? Going off of nationality, right? Go to Numbers 1 and 3. Watch. Because a lot of us say we're mixed, we're this, we're that. But guess what? You're going to be who your father is, all right? So Mexican, what would Mexican be on the sign? Mexican is a byword. Just like I say, they call us African and American. Is that possible? Can I be two different continents? No, so why do we call ourselves that? What about black? Can you go back to a country named Black? We can't even go back to it. There's no country named Black, right? No, there's not, right? So, read what you got.
The book of Numbers, chapter 1 and verse 18. And they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month. And they declared their pedigrees after their families by the house of their fathers.
By what?
By the house of their fathers.
Pedigree is going to bloodlines, such as you ever raise dogs or pit bulls, something like that? You're gonna, where'd you go? Normally, the breed is bred by who? By who? But the dog has a mom and a dad, right? You usually go after the father. Hey, this father right there, these are her puppies, right? He's the one to put the seed in the woman, right? So you basically, hey, you know if he's good stock, his kids are gonna be a good stock, right? But everybody always knows who the daddy is. Oh, the blue right there, those are his babies right there. Those are his pups, right? So you know that. That's when we say we're mixed, we're not mixed. We actually are who our father is. So that's what we go off of. That's your bloodline. So you say, what would you be? You would be what? Okay, so give me some history. What is African American? I just gave you a little bit.
I understand. So African American, African descent,
Okay, all right. African descent, but you live in the United States. But why do they call you African and American? Okay, they want you to assimilate. All right. So, what if Africa was named after Dio Scipio Africanus? He conquered Hannibal during the Second Punic Wars. Now Hannibal, did anybody know anything about Hannibal? Read a little bit of history. Hannibal was one of the first persons to cross over those mountains and actually attack Rome. He brought the fight to Rome. Rome usually was bringing the fight to other people, destroying these other people. Hannibal Barker, he left, went all the way around, came up through the mountains, and then attacked Rome. So he was formidable. He was really formidable. If you ever get to read the history, he was putting it to him. But guess what? He fought him to the First Punic War, and then the Second Punic War, they were defeated. They were defeated by Dio Scipio Africanus. So now, guess what? After you get defeated, Africanus, what did he do? He named the land after him. Now that's why it's called Africanus. America was named after who? Anybody?
Bring it out. Africana was a guy?
Africana, yep, he was a Roman general.
So that one is Africana is Africa then?
Africanus, yep. Because it used to be called the land of Ham. Just like here, this land never used to be called America. It was never called America, but America was named after who? Amerigo Vespucci.
Right.
That's what they say. Amerigo Vespucci discovered America. Is that true?
I thought Columbus did that.
Nah, Columbus didn't discover nothing. Guess what? Columbus didn't discover nothing, neither did Amerigo Vespucci. Because guess what? How can you discover something that people already inhabited? Guess what? This land was colonized by certain people, right? So once it was colonized, it did what? Psalm 68.
The book of Psalms, chapter 49 and verse 11. Their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own name.
They do what?
They call their lands after their own name.
Did that not happen? They did that. They called their lands after their own name. So that's why I say, okay, am I African and American? So African, nope, that was conquered by European. America, nope, that was conquered by European. So I'm not African American. I'm saying what? I'm American American. That's weird. So basically, that's not me, right? So black is the color in the crayon box. Can you go back to that country? Go back to the country of black. You can't. All right, so give me verse 37. We're going into, okay, during these times, once we were colonized, what happened to us? Because, actually, give me some history on the Spaniards. Okay, did you know what land they conquered? Mexico, specifically. Puerto Rico. You ever heard of Hernan Cortez?
Puerto Rico was America. Puerto Rico is America, right?
Now it is. Hey, but Puerto Rico means Puerto Riches. It was conquered by the Spaniards. Huh? I know they do. But they were conquered by the Spaniards. Alright? They're called conquistadors. Hey, y'all go to school?
I've been in school for about 3 years.
Anybody? Okay. The so-called Mexicans, they were conquered by who? They were conquered by the Spaniards. Queen Isabella, King Ferdinand, they sent the Spaniards. Columbus was a Spaniard. He came to the island of Haiti, Hispaniola, right? Same thing. Santo Domingo, same island. Right? Now you got Haiti, and then you got people who speak Spanish on the other side, right? The Dominicans, right?
They speak French too.
Right. Yes. Hey, that's on the other side. The so-called Haitians, that's Levi. Then Puerto Rico, they speak what? Spanish, right?
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 49. The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far.
From where?
From far. As swift as the eagle flieth. And a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand.
So did that not happen? We're actually reading this out of the Bible. Change the names after themselves, right? A nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. That actually happened. But what we're reading is like we're reading the curses that happened to our people. The so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Indians. Those are the Israelites. If you've never been told that, you've been told that today. Because guess what? We're going over our nationality.
Right.
We are according to the Bible. So now when you look at the sign, I know it's kind of small, but guess what? So-called Mexicans, that would be Issachar. So-called black would be from the tribe of Judah.
Right.
If you're a Puerto Rican, that would be from the tribe of Ephraim.
Right.
That's going into your nationality. All right. Read on. Here we go. Judah, this is Benjamin Levi. Ephraim, Puerto Rico. You see Issachar here? They are the so-called Mexicans. Issachar. Yep. You guys used to be called the so-called Aztecs back in the day, right? Us, we used to be called what? So-called Moors. Puerto Ricans, what do they call them? Boricua? Yep. So you've been called different names throughout the ages, but you actually are the Israelites.
That's right.
Verse 50. A nation of fierce countenance.
Wait, hold on. You got a question?
Yeah, I'm talking about South America.
Say that?
South America. South.
That's going into
Central America.
talk about Brazil.
Brazil, Salvador, all that.
Okay, Zebulon. We're talking about Guatemala,
You said
Guatemalan, Guatemala to Panama.
you really talking about mix?
Yeah.
I'm enduring in Mexico.
All right, so wait, go back to Numbers 1 and 18. What do we start with?
Yeah, we're not big.
Right. So would you go off of who your mom is?
I can't buy my mom, but you've been in your mom's baby for 9 months.
Correct, but
Okay, look.
just like we went over the dog, right?
She's pregnant right now, my baby.
Okay.
Puerto Rican,
All right.
right.
Okay.
Mexican, Honduran. So
All right.
what's the baby gonna be?
The baby's gonna be after his father. Guess what? Your baby gonna be what?
Honduran, right?
He gonna be Issachar. He's gonna be who his father is.
Right.
Watch this.
All right.
Hey, remember we went over the pedigree of the dog, right?
Yeah.
So we say the father, this blue, that's the mom, these are his pups. Now do we lay claim to, when you get the papers, they want to know who the daddy is, right? Then what is it? AKC? Or papers that make them official? They want to know who the daddy is, the pops is, right?
The book of Numbers, chapter 15 and verse 16. And if any man's seed of copulation go out from him, then he shall wash all his flesh in the water and be unclean until evening.
So the seed comes from who? The seed comes from who? The daddy, right? So Numbers 1 and 18. So let's re-hit that again, real quick.
The book of Numbers, chapter 1 and verse 18. And they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month. And they declared their pedigrees.
They did what?
They declared their pedigrees
Talking about your bloodline, right?
after their families by the house of their fathers.
After who?
By the house of their fathers.
Right.
Fathers.
Hey, by the house of the fathers. So guess what?
Yeah.
Your child, once he's born, is gonna go after you.
Right.
It's gonna be what? What are we doing for nationality?
So it's gonna be how you call it again?
Issachar.
That's
So what about you, sis? Tess, right? If I'm not mistaken?
Yes.
Jess, I'm sorry.
You're good.
What's your nationality?
Black. Black in Puerto Rico, but black.
Okay, so go back to that country. Show me where it's at on the map. Where's the country of black?
Yeah.
Anybody?
It's not black. You said there's no black, right?
No, do we have a black continent?
I said, oh, okay.
Do we have a black continent?
No, there's no black.
No. But hey, so now we're going to remember our nationality. So Judah right now, they're the so-called blacks. Give me Hebrews 7:14. Who else came from the tribe of Judah? Huh? Like, yeah, in the Bible, who do you know that came from the tribe of Judah? Christ.
Bring it out.
Christ came from the tribe of Judah.
That's right.
All right, read.
The book of Hebrews chapter 7 and verse 14. For it is evident that our Lord sprang out of Judah.
Bring out of where?
Sprang out of Judah.
Go back to Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 15. So now we're going over our nationality. So what happened to the so-called blacks?
Right.
How did they get here to America? Enslaved by? Okay, and how were they taken and brought over here? Right. Deuteronomy 28, 68.
Manipulated into coming to this country.
Correct. But how though? What was the means of transport? By what? That's prophesied in the Bible.
Right.
So when we read through these curses, the nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand, that's going into curses that happen to our people. All right? Where we're being called bywords, these different names. I'm black. Hey, I'm mixed. Even though people thinking that we mixed, we're not. We're going to go by who our father is.
Right.
The book of Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
So Egypt is talking about bondage or captivity. Go back to Exodus 20 verse 2. So he said he's going to bring us into bondage or captivity. How? Read it again.
And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
With what?
With ships.
So he said we're going to go back into bondage or captivity. This time how? With ships, cargo slave ships, right? Because they didn't bring us over here on JetBlue, right? Or Southwest,
Right.
Right? Or Caribbean. Nah, you weren't in comfortable chairs. All people were put in chains on the bottom of the deck, right? Probably brought up once a month, wash the feces off in the administration. Because guess what? You were down there for a month. What you think you were doing? What you think you were doing? You weren't free. So you were pooping and coughing and throwing up on yourself, and they brought you up to the deck and they would rinse you off and put you right back down there. All right? Let me finish.
Isaiah chapter 22 and verse 18. And he will surely violently turn and toss thee like a ball into a large country. There shalt thou die, and there the chariots of thy glory shall be thy shame of the Lord's house.
Back to verse 28. All right, read.
The book of Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 68.
Read.
And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
What?
With ships.
Talking about cargo slave ships. So that did happen, right? It's prophesied that it would happen to certain people. So now, did this happen to everybody? Was everybody put on cargo slave ships?
Bring it out.
They were? Prove it. Like, you're the one who said it. You made the statement. I'm just asking. Okay, so who else came during the transatlantic slave trade?
Bring it out.
On the boat? On the slave ship? I'm asking.
Yeah,
They did?
I believe so.
No. Hey, okay, you heard of what's it? 1492? Columbus sailed the ocean blue. They sing this song in school, right? But where do you think he came from? He came from Spain, right? Queen Isabella, King Ferdinand. Guess what? They employed him to do what? To go to the New World, correct? Give me 2nd Esdras, right? That's in the Bible. It's prophesied that would actually happen. So how do you know where the New World was at? Never read? Read some history books. When you get a chance, get Columbus. Columbus actually...
He was trying to sell to Asia to find new trade
Right. That's what he initially wanted to do, but guess what? He also used the book of Esdras. Did you know that? He used Esdras, and he found out that there's people on the other side of the world. All right, so ready?
Yes, sir. The book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 13 and verse 40. Those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Hosea the king, whom Salmanassar the king of Assyria led away captive. And he carried them over the waters, and so came they unto another land.
They came where?
To another land. But they took this counsel among themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country, where never mankind dwelt.
They went to a further country where never mankind dwelt, because remember when Columbus came over here, people were already here. He didn't discover it. Amerigo Vespucci, when he came to this side of the world, he didn't discover anything.
Right.
There were people already here.
Right.
They into a what?
Into a further country where never mankind dwelt.
So they came to a further country where never mankind dwelt. So they were the first people to inhabit this land. Read.
Right.
That they might keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land, and there entered into Euphrates by the narrow passage of the river.
The river Euphrates is on the backside of Africa.
Right.
They entered into the river Euphrates. They went all the way down the coast of Africa, and guess what? South America. They came to the islands, right? They came down to Haiti, Santo Domingo, here in North America, here in Canada. All right, just talking about the so-called Native Indians, the so-called Mexicans.
For the Most High then showed signs for them, and held still the flood, till they were passed over.
Till they were what?
Till they were passed over. For through that country there was a great way to go, namely a year and a half.
It took a year and a half to get from the west coast of Africa, or the east coast of Africa on the backside, all the way to the other side. Guess what? That's talking about all people, how they came here to this land.
Right.
Where anybody go. Read.
And the same region is called Arsareth.
What do they call it? It said this Arsareth. So it wasn't called America. It said the same region was called Arsareth. All right, go ahead.
The Jewish Encyclopedia. The name of the land beyond the great river, far away from the inhabitation of man, in which the 10 tribes of Israel will dwell, observing the law of Moses until the time of restoration, according to Exodus chapter 13, verse 40 through 45. Columbus identified America with this land.
Columbus did what? Wait, what does the Bible say? It's saying that there was people here before the Spaniards came, right? Give me Daniel chapter 9, verse 11, because you said everybody went into slavery, right?
Not everyone, but the majority of people who weren't, I feel like people who weren't white, or like
It was majority black, but they had
Okay.
Hispanic, they had Native American.
Correct. Because guess what? The Spaniards transported the Native Americans or Mexicans to where? They transported them back to Spain. They were tribute. They were tributary. Guess what? When Columbus came here, guess what? He had to pay. He had to pay, guess what? They wanted some slaves back in Spain.
Right.
So when he came down to the island, Santo Domingo or Haiti, right, guess what? He had to cough up a couple slaves, 400 slaves, send them back to Spain so that they can work the land back there.
That's right.
That was the Queen's, like, whatever, reward, tributary. You understand that, right?
The book of Daniel, chapter 9 and verse 11.
Bring it up.
Hey, all Israel hath transgressed thy law, even by departing, that they might not obey thy voice. Therefore, the curse is poured upon us.
So the curse is poured upon our people, read on.
And the oath that is written in the law of Moses, the servant of God, because we have sinned against him. And he hath confirmed his words, which he spake against us and against our judges, that judged us, by bringing upon us a great evil. For under the whole heaven have not been done as have been done upon Jerusalem.
God said no other punishment has been done as been done unto the children of Israel. Jerusalem, that's us. So who else was put on cause of slave ships? Who else was put in captivity and slavery for 400 years? Who else was conquered in 1492 and 1619?
Bring it out.
Who else? Hey, did you get a flyer? You got a flyer? Hey, call the number, come to the school, man. Hey, we right down the street. Come learn some history, man. Because the Bible's actually talking about you. When we go into the curses, it's actually talking about all people.
Right.
So why did we go into captivity? What was the whole part of us talking to each other right now? Why did we go into captivity?
Skin color.
Verse 15. Why do we go to captivity? What was the whole point of going over our nationality, our heritage, and who we are? We're not black, right? We're not mixed. We're not Mexican. What was the whole point of that?
Nowhere in the Bible
Huh?
nowhere in the Bible does it mention anything about color. Black people, white people.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
You ever read the Bible?
Yeah.
All right.
Go to church.
Okay.
The book of Job, chapter 30 and verse 30. My skin is black upon me.
So wait, hey, what's that color?
But who is it talking about?
Talk about Job. Job was a black man. Read on.
My skin is black upon me.
My skin is what? He said nowhere in the Bible does it mention anything about color. Give me Daniel chapter 10 verse 5.
Bring it
And
up.
it's talking about the color of Christ. Christ was a black man with woolly hair.
That's right.
So, what do you mean?
But I'm saying it don't mention.
What church are you going to? Because they're not teaching you
But I'm
anything.
saying it don't mention.
The Daniel chapter 10 and verse 5. Then I lifted up mine eyes and looked and beheld a certain man clothed in linen, whose loins were girded with fine gold of Uphaz. His body was like a barrel,
Y'all in the green garment.
and his face as the appearance of lightning, and his eyes as lamps of fire, and his arms and feet like the color of
Like in what?
like the color
Don't mention nothing about color.
to polished brass.
Polished brass is, guess
And
what?
it's talking about
Means
black.
dark, black. So you just said, Bible don't say
But
nothing
I'm
about
saying
color.
Don't talk about his children being white, black, yellow, pink, none of that. Don't lie to
Who?
in the Bible.
The children of Israel?
I got you.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 14 and verse 2. Judah mourneth, and the gates thereof languish. They are black.
Wait, so Judah is what?
They are black.
Hey, your pastor, come out of that church, man. Your pastor ain't teaching you nothing.
That's right.
Hey, give me Jeremiah 3 verse 15. That's why it's important for us to learn our history.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 3 and verse 13. 15. And I will give you pastors according to mine heart.
According to what?
According to mine heart.
God's heart is the law, statutes, and commandments. He said he's going to give you pastors that are going to teach you law, statutes, and commandments.
Which shall feed you the knowledge and understanding.
And what?
Knowledge and understanding.
He said he's going to teach you knowledge and understanding, which is the law, statutes, and commandments. One more, give me Revelation chapter 1 verse 14. Because Christ was black according to the Bible.
That's right.
an actual color.
Right.
You black man, you black woman, you Hispanic man, Hispanic woman, guess what? God is black, Christ is black, and you are the children of Israel.
That's right. The book of Revelation, chapter 1 and verse 14. His head and his hairs were white like wool.
Hey, guess what? Since he had woolly hair.
That's right.
He had woolly hair. Who else has woolly hair on the face of this earth?
Bring it
It's
out.
talking about Christ, the
Right.
black Messiah. Read.
As white as snow, and his eyes were as a flame of fire, and his feet like unto fine brass, as if they burned in a furnace.
It said Christ was a dark black man.
That's
And
right.
guess what? He's coming to save the children of Israel.
Right.
But we got to turn back to the law. So
We used to scream black power while Heron was pushed. But at the end of the day, nothing's in vain. IUIC has been given a vision. The tents of Judah has risen. Many has attempted the mission. Minor murmuring, omitting, and missing the mark. Just reading that he had the flame of fire in his eyes gave us the spark. We on Paul's mission. We out on the road, purple and gold. From Mexico, Cuba, Haiti, Ghana, Sierra Leone. 144,000 boots banging, concrete crackling. These are our men repented at heart. The scriptures is proof. IUIC, we deliver the truth.